Igniting history, the origins of fire. According to Greek mythology, Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to the humans. But seriously, think about it. Life without fire? How could you and I be able to keep ourselves warm on cold nights? How would we be able to cook the foods we love to eat? Sitting around campfires and telling pleasurable stories would have been non-existent. Sure, fire can be a bit wild, causing havoc when uncontrolled, but let's agree, it's practically a needed art form. In today's video, we will unveil the true origins of fire and uncover how our early ancestors mastered the art of taming and using fire. We like to think of it as a discovery, but the fact is, fire was very much already part of Earth's story for almost 500 million years prior to our ancestors. That's right, the earliest creatures that predated human beings were probably well aware of fire. Obviously, matchsticks and lighters didn't exist then, but when lightning struck through the forests and set things ablaze, you can bet it caught the attention of our forefathers and left them awe-inspired. So, what they discovered was simply how to make and control fire, which, to be fair, must have been a significant achievement back then, similar to launching the first man into space today. Scientists believe that without the ability to control fire, humans might not have developed large brains and associated benefits. Fire played a crucial role in our evolution, shaping us into the species we are today. Our technological advancements wouldn't be possible without the ability to intentionally start and use fire. At first, our ancestors were what we'd call fire foragers. Being fire foragers means that they knew fire could be beneficial. So when they encountered it on the landscape, they would watch or follow it, like kids seeing rainbows for the first time. Evidence of fire in the fossil record is based mainly on the occurrence of charcoal. This is the partially combusted plant material left after a fire has been extinguished. The oldest fire recorded on Earth has been identified from charcoal in rocks formed around 420 million years ago, in the late Silurian period. Though plants had spread on land at that point, fluctuating atmospheric oxygen levels meant that the first extensive wildfires recorded came somewhat later, dating around 345 million years ago, in the early Carboniferous period. We know there are also periods through Earth's history where oxygen levels in the atmosphere were higher than today. During those times, fires would have been hotter and more frequent. One of these high fire intervals occurred during the later stages of the Cretaceous, when dinosaurs ruled the Earth and flowering plants first appeared. New research suggests that many plants that had been adapted well to a fiery landscape or indeed need fire to reproduce, such as some pines, eucalyptus, and proteas, first appeared around this time, some 90 million years ago. But the spread of grasses and grasslands, such as the savannas of Africa, around 7 million years ago, made a significant impact, not only on the environment, but also on the animals living there. As we already said earlier, lightning strikes were the main sources of ignition before humans appeared. This also means that they were the primary sources of fire before our ancestors learned to control and create fire at will. So after encountering a natural occurring wildfire, you can imagine our ancestors revisiting the site to see what nature had cooked up for them. Evolutionists theorize that over time, pre-humans may also have learned how to make primitive fires using sticks and flint. Although it's impossible to know exactly who used fire in these areas or how they used it, experts believe that these sites show that the early ancestors of human beings controlled fire well over 1 million years ago. But all of this is just reasonable speculation at the end of the day. Finding concrete evidence of the earliest regular use of fire is difficult, as identifying ancient hearths is not always straightforward. These ancient hearths were vital for warmth, cooking, and social activities, serving as a focal point of community life. Now, there are claims of hearth sites in southern Africa that are over 1 million years old, such as the Wondody cave in northern Cape Province. But then clear evidence of habitual use of fire comes from caves in Israel, dating back between 400,000 and 300,000 years ago, and includes the repeated use of a single hearth in Quesem Cave and indications of roasting meat. Today, many scientists believe that a controlled use of fire was likely first achieved by an ancient human ancestor known as Homo erectus during the early Stone Age. But this was still the beginning stages of our interaction with fire. Fire may have simply been conserved by adding fuel, such as slow-burning dung. They had known that fire would have been useful not only for light and warmth at night, but also to frighten off predatory animals, and the smoke would have effectively kept insects away. This ability to stretch fire was a novel feat, only developed by humans. Fire control changed the course of human evolution, allowing our ancestors to stay warm, cook food, ward off predators, and venture into harsh climates. It also had significant social and behavioral implications, encouraging groups of people to gather together and stay up late. As they traveled through tropical forests, they hoarded the precious embers of old fires and sheltered them from downpours. When they settled in the barren Arctic, they took with them the memory of fire and recreated it in stoneware vessels filled with animal fat. Darwin himself considered fire and language the two most significant achievements of humanity. It is, of course, impossible to imagine a human society that does not have language. But given the suitable climate and adequacy of raw wild food, could there have been a primitive tribe that survived without cooking? In fact, no such people have ever been found. Every animal on Earth is constrained by its energy budget. The calories obtained from food will stretch only so far. And for most human beings, most of the time, these calories are burnt not at the gym, but invisibly. It's powering the heart, the digestive system, and especially the brain, in the silent work of moving molecules around within and among its 100 billion cells. The human body at rest devotes roughly 1/5 of its energy to the brain, regardless of whether it is thinking anything useful or even thinking at all. Thus, the unprecedented increase in brain size that hominids embarked on around 1.8 million years ago had to be paid for with added calories, either taken in or diverted from some other function in the body. Many anthropologists think the key breakthrough was adding meat to the diet. But some others say that it is not just how many calories you can put in your mouth, but what happens to the food once it gets there. After subtracting the calories spent in chewing, swallowing, and digesting, how much useful energy does it provide? Well, the real breakthrough, guys, was none other but the most noble art of cooking. According to British primatologist Richard Wrangham, cooking may have played a role in expanding our brains. The hearth would have probably formed a social focus, helping language development. Wrangham has long been championing the theory that cooking allowed human ancestors to consume more calories and, as a result, to develop larger brains. He has largely based his hypothesis on physical changes in early hominins. For instance, a shift towards smaller teeth and stomachs that took place around the time Homo erectus evolved. Regarding meal preparation, cooking food and boiling water allowed early humans to have more varied diet and kill pathogens and parasites. Fire was also involved in making pots and bowls to cook in and eat from, which enabled our ancestors to enjoy a much broader diet. Creating tools and more effective weapons were other key steps humans took to civilization. Archaeological findings suggest that fire was used in prehistoric times to harden wood, particular rocks, and forge metal. These materials were used to create durable tools, possibly in construction, and essentially items for daily life and progress, including weapons. Obviously, by now, humans have gained the ability to start fire at will. We began to use and control fire on a regular and widespread basis, which may have included the use of fire for land clearance for agriculture. But even when humans controlled fire to the extent that it could be used to modify agriculture, we should not lose sight of the fact that wildfire is predominantly controlled by climate. You see, for all the discoveries made by humans throughout the course of our existence, perhaps none is as useful and yet deadly as the harnessing of fire. Sure, we use it for cooking our food, heating our homes, and powering our machines. But there are two sides to every coin, and fire has become a staple in human weaponry, a tool for killing.